Some places hide their stories in the dark. Vermont hides them in plain sight. Fog-covered trails, towns that erase themselves, disappeared families no one filed reports for. These aren't legends, they're coordinates. And if you look too long, the land looks back. Because in Vermont, what you weren't supposed to find, it was never really gone. Lock your doors, put on your headphones, and pull the blanket up tight. Because after this video, you won't see those quiet towns the same way again. The Bennington Triangle disappearances. 5 went in, none came back. Some disappearances make headlines. These ones made silence. Between 1945 and 1950, 5 people vanished in and around Glastenbury Mountain, Vermont. No trails, no bodies, no suspects, just names, dates, and a region locals now call the Bennington Triangle. The land around Glastenbury was once home to a small logging town, but after the logging boom collapsed, the town fell apart. Jobs gone, railroads abandoned. By the 1930s, it was officially unincorporated. No government, no oversight, just trees and time and something waiting between them. The first to vanish was Middy Rivers, a 74-year-old hunting guide. He knew the woods better than anyone. On November 12, 1945, he was leading a group near Hell Hollow Brook. He walked slightly ahead on the trail and never returned. Search teams combed the area for weeks. They found no signs of distress, only one strange detail: a single rifle shell, upright in the dirt, as if placed. 1 year later, on December 1st, 1946, college student Paula Jean Weldon, 18, went hiking alone on the long trail. She told her roommate she'd be back by dinner. She wasn't. A passing hiker saw her on the trail just before it dipped into dense forest. That was the last time anyone saw her. The trail continued. She didn't. No clothing, no blood, no signs of animal activity. Dogs lost her scent instantly. Even stranger, the trail led in one direction, but search teams reported looping back unknowingly, walking for hours only to end up where they started. 3 years later, in 1949, veteran James E. Tetford boarded a bus to Bennington after visiting family. He was seen on the bus by multiple passengers, but when it arrived, his seat was empty. His luggage was still in the rack, his ticket was still in his coat, and he was gone. Next was Paul Jepson, 8 years old, October 1950. He was playing near a farm truck while his mother tended animals. When she turned back, he was gone. She searched the area, then called help. They found nothing, except once again, the dogs lost his scent within yards. 2 weeks later, Frida Langer, 53, went missing after a short hike with her cousin. She fell into a stream, returned to camp to change clothes, and never came back. Her body was the only one ever found. 7 months later, too decomposed to determine cause of death, and found in a spot that had already been searched multiple times. Locals started whispering, "The mountain doesn't want to be walked on. It takes who it chooses." Some people don't echo. The area where all 5 vanished forms a rough triangle centered on Glastenbury Mountain. Some say it's magnetic anomalies. Others say it's sacred land disrespected and disturbed. One theory suggests portal activity, rips in space or time. Another, just human error and cold weather. But those who've hiked the area say the same thing. You don't feel lost, you feel watched. In the years since, more disappearances have been rumored. Some get reported, some don't. But the trails remain. Quiet, overgrown, marked only by names carved into trees that no longer grow straight. And every winter, when the fog creeps low and the wind shifts just wrong, someone goes missing again. Some trails swallow people, but entire towns. Because just a few miles from here, there's a village that unmapped itself, and those who try to visit don't always come back remembering how. The vanishing village of Glastenbury, a town that unmapped itself. Some towns fall off the map. This one took itself off. Glastenbury, Vermont, founded in the 1700s, abandoned by 1937, officially disincorporated. Population, 0. But the land, it never stopped breathing. Glastenbury was once a small logging town fed by a mountain railroad that climbed into the Green Mountains. Hard-working, remote, cold. But when the timber ran out and the rails froze, the town folded in on itself. Most places, when they're abandoned, leave behind ruins. Glastenbury? left behind questions. Visitors report strange things almost immediately. Compasses spinning without wind, cell service dying at the edge of the trail, paths that appear on GPS, then vanish as soon as you enter the woods. Some even claim the topography doesn't match maps. One hiker said, "I walked toward the creek for 10 minutes, then saw my own boot prints in front of me." In 1972, a group of geologists attempted to resurvey the terrain. Their instruments reported false elevations, peaks where there were valleys, drops where the land was flat. They recalibrated, the errors persisted, and the team lead? He left the project before it was complete. His only comment? "I don't trust a mountain that edits itself." Even stranger are the reports of footsteps, not just echoes, but double steps, as if something is walking next to you on a trail where no one should be. In 1996, a photographer spent a weekend near the old town site to capture the ruins of the train station. He took 47 photos. When he developed the film, one image stood out. A house that didn't exist, shingled, 2 stories, curtains in the window. But when he returned a week later, no foundation, no road, nothing. Locals said, there was never a house there. People who attempt to camp near the ruins report waking up in different locations. Time-loss electronics reset to midnight, and one consistent detail, you hear the wind, but you never feel it. In 2008, a local ranger filed a report about terrain instability near Glastenbury Mountain. He marked an area where the trail curved clockwise one day, but counterclockwise the next. He flagged the region as hazardous. The flag was removed. The ranger was reassigned. He hasn't spoken publicly since. Glastenbury doesn't have official roads anymore, but hikers still find markers, handmade, weathered, pointing to places that never existed. Post office, depot, church, each sign more rotted than the last, each one leading nowhere, or worse, somewhere that used to be. Some believe Glastenbury is sitting on a magnetic anomaly. Others believe the town was abandoned not because of economy, but because something pushed the people out. There are no living residents, no official boundaries, no updated maps, but people still go missing there. People still report things that don't line up, and sometimes they say you can still hear a train in the distance, even though the tracks were torn up 90 years ago. Some towns vanish above ground, others start moving underground, and in Vermont, graveyards have started to shift, not because of nature, but because something keeps disturbing the dead. The cemetery that moves graves, and no one knows why. Some graves settle, others don't stay where they were put. Vermont, known as the granite capital of the world, a town shaped by stone and carved by death. Here, cemeteries are everywhere, some beautiful, some forgotten, and some wrong. In the quiet hills near Bar sits a collection of small, old cemeteries. Hope, Graniteville, Elmwood, each with graves dating back to the 1800s. And in the last 30 years, something has started to happen. Some of the graves have moved, not cracked, not sunken, shifted, inches, feet, sometimes yards, with no signs of excavation, no damage to the soil, and no record of maintenance, just wrong placement. In 1993, during a routine mapping of Hope Cemetery, city workers discovered 4 plots were no longer aligned with the master record. One headstone had rotated 15 degrees. Another had shifted nearly 5 feet to the left. A third grave had no body beneath it at all, just stone. The burial record confirmed, remains verified in 1921. But now, gone. Officials blamed erosion, frost heaves, tree root pressure. But then came the Graniteville incident. In 2007, a small maintenance team clearing brush near the back of Graniteville Cemetery found a row of 5 headstones, all facing the woods. Not the path, not the gate, just trees. All 5 had been originally facing east. Now they were aligned west, perfectly straight. There were no signs of drag marks, no disturbed earth and no tracks. A local historian cross-referenced burial logs. 2 of the names had no existing family. 2 others had records that stopped in the 1950s. The 5th didn't appear in town records at all. Just a name. Ruth Venn, born 1892, died 1918. No obituary, no census, no gravestone orders on file, but her stone was polished clean. Visitors have reported strange details for decades. Flowers left in the wrong places, nameplates reversed overnight, cold spots in front of specific graves, even in August whispers that seem to come from underfoot, especially near dusk. In 2015, a woman walking her dog in the Elmwood Cemetery at twilight saw something even worse. I saw a woman kneeling at a grave, but she wasn't real. She had no face, just smooth white skin where her face should have been. She turned her head toward me, and then she was gone. She never went back. In 2020, drone scans during a cemetery restoration project picked up multiple heat signatures near graves listed as inactive. When officials arrived, no one was there. Just footprints, half-formed, sunken, but starting from nowhere. Geologists say it could be soil movement. Locals say stone doesn't lie, but it remembers, and if you bury something it doesn't want to hold, it gives it back. To this day, the cemeteries around Barra are open, but workers say they never trust the ground twice. And some people, they say the names on those stones aren't the ones buried beneath them anymore. Some things shift on the surface, others speak from underneath. And just outside Moortown, there's a place where the rocks themselves whisper, even when no one's standing there. The Whispering Stone of Devils Washbowl, voices from beneath. Some rocks stand still, others speak when no one's listening. Tucked between the ridges near Moortown, Vermont, is a depression in the land known as the Devils Washbowl. The shallow basin, ringed by dark stone, covered in moss and silence. To hikers, it looks like a geological hiccup. To locals, it's a place you don't stop walking. The first printed reference came from an 1868 journal entry. We set camp in the bowl. Before long, we heard soft speech in a tongue none of us knew. Thought it was echoes, but they were answering our own. Geologists say the bowl is a natural amphitheater, carved by glacial melt and runoff erosion, but that doesn't explain the voices. Visitors have reported hearing their own words repeated in the wrong tone, whispering in their ears when no one is near, sounds of stones scraping from beneath their feet, names spoken softly, even when no one said them. In 1975, a pair of college students recorded audio near the center of the bowl. They were attempting to capture owl calls. Instead, they picked up a voice, flat, slow, emotionless, saying, "There is no sky here." They left that night and never returned. Some say it's wind refracting through cracks in the stone. Others say there's a fault line beneath the basin that carries sound unnaturally. But that doesn't explain what happened in 1999. A local hiker was found collapsed just outside the washbowl, disoriented, with bleeding ears. He was alone. No signs of trauma. When asked what happened, he said, "Something was speaking through the stone. Not around me, through me." In 2011, a geologist named Hal Brenner set up vibration sensors in the basin. What he found was subtle. The rock beneath the bowl pulses, softly, rhythmically, like breath, not caused by tectonics, not groundwater, just movement, deep, measured, unexplained. Even today, hikers who pass through the Devil's Washbowl report one consistent thing, a low voice, just behind them, that says only one word. Stay. No one knows what it means. Is it a warning or an invitation? The path still cuts through the bowl, but the rangers don't mark it anymore. No signs, no names, just a shadowed place in the land where the air presses against your teeth and the earth listens more than it should. If you ever walk through it and feel the stone buzz under your feet, don't stop. Don't speak, and whatever you do, don't answer, because no one knows what's listening or how close it is to remembering your voice. Some places whisper back, others flash in the trees, and then disappear. And on the long trail, under the pines and fog, the lights are moving again. The long trail lights, signals from the pines. Some trails guide you home, others don't want to let you leave. Vermont's Long Trail is the oldest long-distance hiking trail in the United States. 272 miles of dense pine forest, fog, rivers, and rock, a path that stretches from Massachusetts to the Canadian border, and somewhere between mile marker 103 and 128, the lights begin. The first report came in 1932. A hiker described a blue-white glow pulsing through the trees at night. No sound, no movement in the branches, just light. Then more came in the 40s, the 70s, the 2000s, always in the same zone, always the same description. Orbs of cold light, appearing without warning, moving against the wind, and sometimes following. One ranger, now retired, said, "They're not fireflies, they don't blink, they don't fly, they watch." In 1984, a group of 3 hikers near Belvedere Mountain saw a light rise over the ridge. It moved horizontally for 200 feet, then dropped straight down behind the trees. They thought it was a drone, but this was 1984. Another hiker in 1997 reported a series of 3 lights flashing in sequence every night at exactly 2:13 a.m. He camped in the same spot for 4 nights. Each night, the lights appeared. He left on the 5th. His journal entry read, "They were closer every time, no noise, just the feeling I was being scanned. The lights vary in color, blue, pale green, occasionally bright amber. They cast shadows, they reflect on wet leaves, but never on skin, and no one's ever captured one clearly. Cameras glitch, batteries die, footage corrupts. Some believe it's ball lightning, a rare atmospheric phenomenon. Others say it's geothermal energy reacting with quartz in the mountains, but that doesn't explain the reports of missing time migraines before sightings, the sudden need to turn around, even without fear, and always the sensation that you're being counted." In 2016, a solo backpacker saw 2 lights hovering 40 feet off the trail. When he turned his flashlight toward them, they didn't move. They simply winked out. One, then the other. Seconds later, a 3rd light appeared behind him. He ran 8 miles without stopping. Locals don't like to talk about it. They say things like, "Don't camp between marker 118 and 122. Don't follow anything that moves uphill after dark. If it blinks more than once, you blink back, and it remembers you." Even today, forums for hikers on the long trail include anonymous warnings. Do not try to signal back. Cover your lights. Walk without speaking after midnight, because whatever the long trail lights are, they're not lost, they're not natural, and they've been waiting a long time. Some lights chase you, but one figure stands still. On foggy nights near Route 7, drivers report the same thing. A woman in red, watching from the side of the road, and never leaving footprints. The woman in red who walks the fog and never leaves footprints. Some ghosts scream, some chase, but the ones that haunt the deepest to just watch. Since the mid-1960s, dozens of drivers along Route 7 near Shaftesbury, Vermont, have reported seeing the same thing. A woman, standing still in the fog, wearing a long red dress, no shoes, no umbrella, no motion, just staring. The first official account came in 1965 when a local bus driver filed a police report claiming he almost struck a woman who stepped into the road on a foggy night. He slammed the brakes, got out, called for her. No one was there. No footprints in the wet gravel, no broken brush on the shoulder, just tire marks and silence. Then came more reports, always around the same stretch of road, always in fog, always the same description. She wasn't transparent, she was just wrong. One woman said the figure was visible in her rearview mirror for over 30 seconds, perfectly still. When she turned around, nothing, just fog. Some believe it's the ghost of Paula Weldon, the Bennington College student who vanished on the Long Trail in 1946. But Paula wore a red coat, not a dress, and her body was never found, so why would she haunt a road, nowhere near where she disappeared? Other theories suggest she's not a ghost at all, that she's a watcher, a spirit that marks people, or a manifestation of memory, a projection of the fear every traveler carries in silence. But then came the recordings. In 2004, a dashcam picked up a flicker of red at mile marker 138. The car slowed. The driver swerved. Frame by frame, you can make out the edge of a figure in red, only visible when the fog thickens. In 2017, a couple pulled over after seeing someone by the tree line. They walked toward her, calling out. She didn't respond, didn't move. When they got within 20 feet, they both say the same thing. She turned around, but there was no face, just a soft blur, like fog under skin. Some say that those who see her start seeing her again, in other states, in parking lots, sometimes in dreams, and always in the fog, never during storms, never in sunlight, only when it's quiet. There are no warning signs on Route 7, no markers, no local tour stops, just a road, a woman, and a question that no one can answer. What happens if she ever walks toward you? So if you're ever driving alone through southern Vermont and the fog starts to crawl across the pavement and something red appears at the edge of your headlights, don't slow down. Don't turn around, and don't stop to look. Because even if she doesn't move, she'll know you did. Some mysteries pull you off the trail, some move beneath your feet, and some simply wait where the road bends. Vermont's secrets were never loud. They didn't need to be, because once you hear them, you never stop looking over your shoulder. Tell us in the comments, which mystery stayed with you and which state should we uncover next, because even in the quietest towns, some things never really disappear.